I live in Honolulu, Hawaii, born and raised here, full-time firefighter, also a realtor and property manager. But I invest about 5,000 miles away in cash flowing real estate property in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bite Size Investments, the channel that talks about buying cash flow, rental properties to achieve financial freedom. Today, we have my friend Marc Oshiro from Honolulu, Hawaii. We met on Twitter, and to tell you, I'm impressed by what he has achieved. He has an amazing story as a real estate investor, and I will not steal the thunder. So let's hear out from my man, Marc Oshiro himself. Marc, please share with my audience who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you for having me on, Han. I don't know, I forget what time it is for you over there, but it's 5 a.m. in Hawaii, and I love doing this and doing this for my buddy. But yeah, so I like Han said, I live in Honolulu, Hawaii, born and raised here all my life. I'm a full-time firefighter, also a realtor and property manager, but I invest about 5,000 miles away. I invest in cash flowing real estate property in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And a lot of people look at me and think I'm crazy for investing so far away. And the fact that I've never actually been there, and the fact that Hawaii, people see great appreciation and see these expensive properties, and they wonder why I'm investing out of state or remotely.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. When I first heard about how you're doing it, I could really resonate with you. Coming from high price markets, going into high price appreciating markets, and then looking for cash flowing properties, but also having appreciation at the same time. It's like having your cake and eating it. So, Mark, could you share with my audience why did you start real estate investing and why in Pittsburgh?
Well, the long story is that I had a primary residence. I was just, headed down that typical path of, going to school, getting a W-2 job, putting money in retirement accounts. And I was kind of just coasting along, and I was following the traditional path that many of us were told to do. And, you know, going back to maybe 2020, and life changed for a lot of people. Things happened in the world, and people saw things differently. And I looked at what I was doing, and I saw people that were losing their jobs, unfortunately, or getting laid off. And I looked at my situation and started realizing how risky I was being, kind of just relying on one stream of income. So even though I had a very secure job and a primary residence, and I was just kind of coasting along, I realized, man, what if I get hurt, or what if I don't finish my career? Like, what am I gonna do? So my one of my friends was investing in real estate out of state. Same thing. He's in Honolulu, Hawaii, but he was investing in another market. And he always would tell me, "Hey, take a look at this. You should look into this." And I thought he was crazy, because same thing. I grew up, I see Hawaii, and the price is appreciated, and you're like, man, there's so much wealth here, and a lot of people here are house rich, and but they're not generating any income off of their property. So they have a lot of net worth, but they're not doing anything with that, and they can't really live off of their net worth. But yeah, I saw it was being very risky, and I started looking into other ways to increase my income. And like people say, right, live where you want, but invest where the numbers make sense. And that's kind of why I looked at investing out of state or remotely. And what you find out, though, is that there's many, many great markets out there. And I think that's kind of where a lot of people get caught up, and they start over analyzing things, and that's actually slows them down, because they're trying to find this number one market. And Han can attest to that, because he's in a different market, but he's in a great market that fits him. So there's a lot of great people out there doing amazing things, but they're all in different markets.
Yeah, so what would you like to share how many properties do you have right now?
Yeah, so that's kind of I it's a touchy subject, in the sense that I'm glad where I'm at, but I also feel that that's kind of my message to people is I probably went a little too quickly, which kind of slowed me down as far as real estate is very forgiving, but you do make a lot of mistakes in the beginning, and we're always constantly learning. And that's why it's great being around other people that are doing it and where you can toss ideas around. And that's why like Han is a great resource, to get information from and his courses that can really help you streamline things. But for me, so I have 14 properties in Pittsburgh, um, all cash flowing. But, there's a lot of things that I would probably do different if I was starting over. And I think, getting to 14 and maybe, I want to say about a year and a half probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, I would say.
I see, I see. So maybe you can share with us, how did you get started? How did you start?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, if you want to kind of go back to the like I was talking about, I had a primary resident or had a condo actually first, and I started in that
Yes,
path where a lot of people that's what they start with. They're gonna start with a kind of starter level home or a 1 bedroom condo, and then you work your way up, and that's what I did. I was in a condo at first, a 1 bedroom, and then I got a primary resident, a single family home, and I was fortunate enough to be able to keep that condo at the time, but it wasn't really cash flowing. I mean, you'd have to have a lot of money in the property to where your payment was very low. So the rent to price ratio in Hawaii, isn't someplace where you can really cash flow unless you're going to do, short-term rentals or mid-term rentals. And even that now there's a lot of restrictions on that in Hawaii. So a lot of people are having a difficult time finding properties that cash flow. But anyways, so, I was able to, use the equity in those properties. And also, like I was talked about earlier, I had retirement accounts. And when I looked at it, I was like, these retirement accounts are not going to have enough for when I retire. So, I don't advise people to do it, and there's probably better ways to do it than what I did. But you have ways that you can access these retirement accounts if you're willing to, take a loan off them or take a penalty or to pay the taxes on them. But you can access these funds to start investing. And for me, my personality is kind of just I kind of go in on a lot of things. And like I said, I don't advise people doing it, but I went all in and I took everything out of my retirement accounts. I bit the bullet. I paid the penalty, the taxes, and but that's kind of where my start was. I used lines of credit and retirement accounts to purchase properties, and like I tell people, I think the first 4 or 5 properties kind of tricked me. They're very easy as far as you know the tenants. No problems in the beginning. So I think that's where I got the confidence to scale quickly. But as Han can probably attest to it, is problems happen, and that's part of being a landlord, and that's part of investing in real estate. Is problems do occur, and you just got to figure out the solution. However, for me, getting these 14 properties so quickly, a lot of times trying to stabilize maybe 10 to 14 properties all at the same time does provide challenges. Yeah. So, like I tell people, I'm glad where I'm at. However, if I was to start over, what my message is to other people is kind of take it one rental at a time and take it slowly and learn because I always tell people the first property you get it is scary, but getting the property is kind of the easiest part in a sense. You're just finding a property that fits your buy box and fits the numbers, and you find the financing for it and you purchase it. But now becoming a landlord is where a lot of the learning comes in, and that's kind of what I tell people. Getting the property is fairly easy, but it's learning how to manage the properties where a lot of the headaches might come in.
nice, nice, great lessons over here that you're sharing. So what you say is that relying on just one income is not the only, it's not the safest way. Getting multiple streams of income, of which one of them is rental properties, is one way. And do not scale too fast. Getting buying properties is the start, is the one of the easiest, and then after that, managing the property and the portfolio takes some learning, but it will be rewarding at the end, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I think, but that's the thing, right? A lot of people quit early. Like there's a lot of headaches that might come up, and the entry point sometimes is a little bit harder to get started. You need a down payment and whatnot compared to just investing in stocks or putting it in retirement accounts where it's automatically taken out of your paycheck. It does take a little bit of work and focus to get your finances together, and just getting over that hump of realizing that you're going to have problems, but usually when you have a problem, there's some sort of solution and you just figure it out. And I think it's either that's kind of the breaking point, right? Either some people just quit and say this is not for them, and there's others that kind of push through it and get over that hump. And then once they get over that hump, it kind of just snowballs and everything starts moving and starts building up momentum, and that's when the portfolio kind of takes off on itself.
All right, sounds good. Is there any other thing you'd like to share with my audience on like your real estate experience, or anything like either in Hawaii or Pittsburgh?
To me, I think the biggest thing is you got to just get out of your comfort zone. And I think that's, where a lot of my, um, I was kind of in a bubble, I would say for much of my life where like I tell you, I was just coasting along and I was doing what you're kind of told to do, go to school, get a job. I had a pension. A lot of people don't have pensions anymore. And I had this great setup and I was just coasting along. And I think Han mentions it a lot too. Is like your primary residence is not always the best investment, and I definitely was in that camp in the beginning. I saw your primary residence as this great asset and great investment, and I thought that's how you build wealth. And I look at it now, and if I was to do a lot of things different when I started, I'd probably be, way ahead. But I'm just glad, the light bulb turned on for me, and I figured some things out, and I met a lot of cool people on social media like Han and stuff who's doing great things out there. And that's what it's all about, is getting out of your comfort zone, and even just connecting with these people. Because a lot of times you think that, maybe you haven't done anything yet. You don't even have a property yet, and you're like, well, why am I gonna reach out to this person, or why am I gonna connect with this person? But what you find out is we all started at zero, and we all started, at the same place. But what I'm noticing is this real estate community or financial freedom community, everyone is super available and willing to help one another, or even just point you in a direction to connect with someone. So I have people that reach out to me and they talk about Ohio, and I go, oh, I know this guy Han who's in Singapore, how many thousands of miles away, investing there, so you should reach out to him. And same thing, there's someone that connects with Han and they might mention Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania, and he sends them my way, and then I connect with these people. And so I think that's what it is getting, finding the community that you relate with. And that's why, like Han's course, I mean, he's helping people realize that it can be done. And people are doing it out there. And that's what I never realized, that there were these homes 1,000 miles away, that for $200,000 that can rent for $2,000. And I was just like,
Yeah,
yeah, I never, like I said, growing up in Hawaii, you look around and everything's like $1 million, and you just don't realize what's out there. So when I first saw these homes in Pittsburgh, I was just like blown away. I was like, are these real homes? Like, are these like? But yeah, you realize that there's a lot of places in the country that are like that.
yeah, yeah. Thanks for sharing, and it's amazing to be able to understand that actually there are networks out there, and people are really kind, and they do share stuff or point you in the right direction, or point anyone who needs help in the right direction. Awesome. So, Mark, so where can people connect with you and find out more about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of all over. I would say I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or X if you want to call it X, but I still call it Twitter. But so I'm right now I'm financial firefighter. Um I am looking to rebrand, so I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do, but currently it's financial firefighter. But yeah, just reach out to me. I love talking real estate. Love talking to even like, even what I realized too is not only real estate. It's also just kind of side hustles, and it's to me that's what I'm super interested in is seeing how other people are figuring out ways of generating extra streams of income. If we have the time, quick story. So yesterday, so like I said, I do property management, but we had to go meet one of our new tenants at a property that I'm managing, and we go there, talking story with him for a little while. And I can't give too much information because I don't think he has it patented yet. But he's working on all these different projects on, side hustles. But he even came out with like a kids coloring book that he's putting on Amazon, and it was all from. I guess he, I guess he had to catch a rat that was running around the house or unit, the other week.
Okay, very
And
well.
yeah, for whatever reason, he wrote a children book about a mouse or a rat and kind of yeah. He used Chat GPT, and then he got the illustrations done, and but yeah, just people are out there trying to figure out ways to generate extra income, and I think a lot of people's minds are being opened that the traditional work 9 to 5 for 40 years, rely on your retirement accounts is kind of it doesn't really work today, I think, anymore. It doesn't fit today's
Yeah,
lifestyle. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. There's really a need to. I mean, like like industries evolve, economies evolve, and the old way of how do I say it, retiring may not be as valid today as it was in the past, and there's always the need to reinvent ourselves. And yeah, so yeah, I will leave Mark's handles, IG, X, and Twitter's handles all in the description down below. So please connect with him, talk to him, and yeah, learn from each other. All right, I'll see everyone. Thank you. Bye
All right.
bye.
Thanks, Han.